On Thanksgiving Eve, November 24th, 1971, a man carrying a black attaché case approached the flight counter of Northwest Orient Airlines at Portland International Airport. Using cash, the man bought a one-way ticket on Flight 305, a 30-minute trip north to Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. On his ticket, the man listed his name as Dan Cooper. Eyewitnesses described Cooper as a white male in his mid-40s, with dark hair and brown eyes, wearing a black or brown business suit, a white shirt, a thin black tie, a black raincoat, and brown shoes, carrying a briefcase and a brown paper bag. Cooper boarded Flight 305, a Boeing 727-100. Cooper took seat 18E in the last row and ordered a drink, a bourbon, and 7-Up from the flight attendant. Soon after takeoff, Cooper handed a note to flight attendant Schaffner, who was sitting in the jump seat at the rear of the airplane, directly behind Cooper. Assuming the note was a lonely businessman's telephone number, Schaffner dropped the note, unopened, into her purse. Cooper then leaned toward her and whispered, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Schaffner opened the note. In neat, all capital letters printed with a felt-tip pen, Cooper had written, "Miss, I have a bomb in my briefcase and want you to sit by me." Schaffner returned the note to Cooper, sat down as he requested, and asked quietly to see the bomb. He opened his briefcase, and she saw 2 rows of 4 red cylinders, which she assumed were dynamite. Attached to the cylinders were a wire and a large, cylindrical battery, which resembled a bomb. Cooper closed the briefcase and told Schaffner his demands. She wrote a note with Cooper's demands, brought it to the cockpit, and informed the flight crew of the situation. Captain Scott directed her to remain in the cockpit for the remainder of the flight and take notes of events as they happened. 16. He then relayed to Northwest Flight Operations in Minnesota the hijacker's demands. Cooper requests $200,000 in a knapsack by 5 p.m. He wants 2 front parachutes, 2 back parachutes. He wants the money in negotiable American currency. By requesting 2 sets of parachutes, Cooper implied that he planned to take a hostage with him, thereby discouraging authorities from supplying non-functional equipment. Captain Scott informed Seattle-Tacoma Airport Air Traffic Control, ATC, of the situation, who contacted local police and the FBI. The passengers were told their arrival in Seattle would be delayed because of a minor mechanical difficulty. Donald Nyrop, the president of Northwest Orient, authorized payment of the ransom and ordered all employees to cooperate with the hijacker and comply with his demands. $200,000. Ransom was received from Seattle First National Bank in a bag weighing approximately 19 pounds. The money, 10,000 unmarked $20 bills, most of which had serial numbers beginning with L, indicating issuance by the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, was photographed. On microfilm by the FBI, Seattle police obtained the 2 front reserve parachutes from a local skydiving school and the 2 back parachutes from a local stunt pilot. Around 5:24 Pacific Standard Time, Captain Scott was informed the parachutes had been delivered to the airport and notified Cooper they would be landing soon. At 5:46 Pacific Standard Time, Flight 305 landed at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. With Cooper's permission, Scott parked the aircraft on a partially lit runway, away from the main terminal. Per Cooper's directive, Mucklow, the flight attendant, exited the aircraft through the front door. She carried the money bag past the seated passengers to Cooper in the last row. Around 7:40 p.m., Flight 305 took off, with only Cooper, Mucklow, Captain Scott, First Officer Radizak, and Flight Engineer Anderson aboard. He ordered Mucklow to go to cockpit and doesn't until he calls. Around 8 p.m., a cockpit warning light flashed, indicating the aft staircase had been deployed. At approximately 8:13 p.m., the aircraft's tail section suddenly pitched upward, forcing the pilots to trim and return the aircraft to level flight and crafts. Cabin door opened and the staircase deployed. The flight crew remained in the cockpit, unsure if Cooper was still aboard. Mucklow used the cabin intercom to inform Cooper they were approaching Reno, and he needed to raise the stairs so the airplane could land safely. She repeated her requests as the pilots made the final approach to land, but neither Mucklow nor the flight crew received a reply from the hijacker. At 11:02 p.m., with the aft staircase still deployed, Flight 305 landed at Reno Tahoe International Airport. FBI agents, state troopers, sheriff's deputies, and Reno police established a perimeter around the aircraft, but fearing the hijacker and the bomb were still aboard, did not approach the airplane. Captain Scott searched the cabin, confirmed Cooper was no longer aboard, and after a 30-minute search, an FBI bomb squad declared the cabin safe. In 1980, a small portion of the ransom money was found along the banks of the Columbia River near Vancouver, Washington. The crime remains the only unsolved case of air piracy in the history of commercial aviation. The FBI speculates Cooper did not survive his jump for several reasons. The inclement weather on the night of the hijacking, Cooper's unsuitable clothing, and lack of proper skydiving equipment. However, the mystery remains unsolved even after ages.